Hi, welcome back to another Serger tip clip and sparkly warm wishes for the holidays. In the next few tip clips, I'm going to show you a few gift ideas that are not only great holiday gifts, but wonderful all year long. They're relatively easy, they're quick, and they won't break the bank. So let's take a look at the first one, and that's going to be a pashmina. This pashmina caught my eye in a thrift shop on Cape Cod over Thanksgiving weekend, and I bought it perfectly plain for, believe it or not, $4. It was in pretty good shape, and I brought it home. I laundered it on the gentle cycle, and then I brought it into my studio to decide what I wanted to do with it. And since it's such a beautiful winter color, it's such a rich green, I thought, oh, I think snowflakes would be perfect because those would be great all winter long and not necessarily Christmassy. So I created these snowflakes with a narrow cover stitch and 12 weight glamour thread by Wonderfill. I'll walk you through the whole process of creating my little snowstorm on the pashmina. And if you like what you see, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I made a couple of sample snowflakes and I just cut around them on scrap fabric just to test out and audition the placement of them. It's not going to be appliqued on the pashmina itself. It will be stitched directly onto it. But this gave me an idea of how I wanted the snowflakes to look. So this is an 8-inch one. This is a 6-inch one. I'm going to turn the pashmina over to the wrong side and I'm going to trace a circle, and that will give me an idea of where to put my lines for the snowflakes. I always say to people, when I need a template for a circle, if it's bigger than one that I have a professional or a sheet template for, I just grab the first thing that kind of fits the bill, and this was a smoke detector one. So I'm on the wrong side, and I am using a friction pen that will disappear with the heat of an iron, and I'm drawing my 6-inch circle here. Okay, and this is a little hoop frame that is about 8 inches. So I'm going to draw that one. I went over the circle again with white chalk because I realized with the black marker, the friction pen, you couldn't see it on camera. So now I'm ready to draw my lines. And I think snowflakes usually have 8 kind of legs to them. So I'm just going to go down through one and across. And this is, I'm not being super exact, but I think it'll be perfectly fine. So 2 long ones. And then at about a 45-degree angle, I am going to, let me just get this at about 45, yep. Speaking of being exact, I think this is good. And then we'll just do 2 shorter legs. And then this one. And again, this is on the wrong side of the pashmina, which is what we want because we're going to stitch from the wrong side with cover stitching, which is going to be cool, you'll see. But I am set up for a 3-thread cover stitch, narrow, and I've got my center and right cover stitch needles in, and my tensions on my needles are auto set. The center one is at 4.5. The right needle is 6. The chain looper is 1.5. I have my needle up, but as you remember, you can do needle up or needle down, but with chain and cover stitching, I always like to have needle up. So I'm just going to do a test sample to make sure the stitch looks the way I want it to look and make sure that I've got those thread chains on the top of the machine. I think that stitch length might be a little too short for those 2 threads. So I'm going to bring it back to 3.5 and let's see what that was. And let's give it another run. And this is a sweater knit, so you'll see it stretching a little bit with that lower differential feed. But let's Oh, I like that much better. I think that looks really nice. So that stitch length is on 3.5. So that's going to be perfect for our snowflakes. Now, I did some sample snowflakes on a scrap of linen and they came out just fine. But when I tried to stitch the first one on this pashmina fabric that's very soft and slightly loosely woven, I got a big surprise. And the stitching kind of pulled on the fabric. So I decided that it needed stabilizer. And when I'm using a heavy, thicker thread, my go-to stabilizer is a sticky wash away, and they come in a bunch of different brands. So whatever your dealer has locally, I'm quite sure will work. I know a lot of the companies carry this particular one. And actually, this is great for a couple of different reasons. Not only will it prevent pulling of the fabric, but you can actually see the legs of your snowflake, because all you have to do is stitch right along that center line, and you're going to be in good shape as far as your stitching goes. So I am going to stick with this, and I think it's just, and I think you'll be able to see it better on camera as well, which is a big plus when you're doing a video. So let me put this other one down. This one is a little bit shorter. I'll put a little bit shorty one right here. And this does wash out, so I don't have to worry about that. I can just either spritz it out or throw it on the hand wash cycle and let it dry. I did wash this pashmina before I did any of the work on it, so I don't have to worry about shrinking or any other little surprises that'll come along. So there's one. I'm going to just trim this leg a little bit so it's pretty even with the other ones. That's good. I'm going to do the same thing on my two other circles, and I'll see you at the machine. And I'm just keeping my eye on the foot and seeing how far away I am from the edge of that stabilizer strip that I know is straight. Okay, and here is my trick for ending. And you've seen me do this on stitching in the round, but guess what? It works on this too. Over the fabric and under the foot in back of the threads I pull. These are my needle threads. Snip. They're going to get pulled to the other side. Snap. It's really just a pull, but it sounds cute. Snap. And then I'm going to snip my chain looper thread, which is now locked. So, and I've got one more leg of this snowflake to do. I've done most of the snowflakes, but I saved one to walk you through the process of attaching these crystals. And you can use more expensive crystals, but believe it or not, these are just the little plastic ones, and they're just placed here. I like to audition my ideas for beading ahead of time and make sure that I like the composition and it's pleasing. But then what I always suggest doing is, before you move them aside to actually start gluing them on, is to take a photo with your phone so that you don't forget, because I would forget what I had. So I've got these on, and I'm going to move these aside because the next thing I want to do is make sure that any of my little stray threads, like right here, are clipped off so that they're not peeking out from in back of the crystals when I glue them on. So I'm just going to move these off to the side if I see any. And actually, I probably don't even have to move all of them. But I do see a couple little stray threads right here. And just be careful you don't clip your pashmina in the meantime. And I think that's about all that I needed to do any cutting on. If I see anything else along the way before I glue, I'll give it a quick clip. But I think we're ready to get started. Now, I like to use gem tack. There are a lot of different rhinestone and crystal glues and sequin glues on the market. Somebody who does a lot of this for horse shows recommended this to me because she likes to bling them up and the jackets up. with a lot of crystals, and she recommends this, and she said they've never fallen off. So that's what I go with. I want to show you how I like to put the glue on the back of these. If you have hot fix crystals, you don't have to bother doing this, but these are not, they're plastic. So I just take a little cotton swab, dab it into my glue, and then kind of just lightly paint it on the back of the crystal itself, keeping it fairly light as far as the amount that, so it doesn't kind of glob out when you go to press it onto your fabric. And all of this takes a little bit of time. It's not hard, but it does take a little bit of time. But honestly, I love doing it, and once I get going, it's kind of like, I kind of hate to stop doing it. I'll probably be sprinkling a few of these around, other than on the snowflakes too, so you'll see the finished product. Thanks for joining me today, and if you have any questions or comments, be sure to post them below and I'll get back to you very quickly. But have a great holiday season and all winter long.